This episode of Another Great Day is brought to you by Caravans, a group of cars, covered wagons, an RV in England with dags, or Buddy Rich playing the drums like the world depends on it. It's Friday, April 12th, 2024. I'm Chris, and this is going to be a semi-last episode for a long time of the podcast. If you have any thoughts, if you're one of the 12 people who listen to this, who we see on our little charts of Spotify, if you're one of those people, please, if you want this to continue, give us an email at anothergreatdaypodcast@gmail.com. Write and say, please continue, or don't email, and then we'll know that you didn't want it to continue. That's fine. Or we would love it if you had any feedback and you say, oh, we loved the parts where you did silly songs or stories, or where you were talking, or this day in history, or the scripture, or whatever. Please give us some feedback, because we're thinking about changing it all up and doing something different. So if you do have stuff, please give it to us. Otherwise, we won't know. And if you don't email, then we'll know that there was not much audience, and that's fine. You don't have to email or be our audience. It's okay. And we'll do something else. We will carry on, just like we're going to right now with this episode. We're going to skip right to the question of the day. Keep it short and simple today. The question is, have you ever had to make peace with someone you didn't get along with? How did you do it? Oof. Yes. Yeah. I'll give an answer, but you can pause the show and give your own answers to each other, hopefully with people around you, and discuss that question. So I remember I was working at a job, and I had a disagreement with somebody in the office where I was working, and it became an argument where they were saying ideas out loud that I didn't agree with, and I was saying ideas out loud that they didn't agree with, and in the end, I got very heated, and I realized when that happens, I am pretty quiet. I stop talking because I don't want to be mean, or do something silly. But I think I took some time to calm down, and that other person also did. And they weren't nearly as angry as I was, but I just don't like lots of confrontation to begin with. But I think what happened in the end was I knew what they were saying was coming out of a place of love. And so I had to think about how they viewed the situation. And I had to get out of my head. And the thing that they were thinking, I don't think was right. But I can see how they got there. And I can understand that they were trying to do their best. And I mean, that is definitely how I got along with that person afterwards. Is I understood that we may not agree on that, but they're also trying to do good. So that, and it wasn't a thing that the world had to stop on. It was not that kind of thing. It was a much lesser kind of thing. So anyway, yeah, that is one of the ways that you get for me to get along with people, is to kind of think about what they're thinking about, and how did they get to that point, and how did they figure out their viewpoint, so I can understand. And part of that is listening. You just have to straight up listen, and give them the platform to say the thing that they want to say without me interrupting it. And that's difficult sometimes. But it can be done. And it may not be in that exact same time. We may have to do it a different day. But so that's kind of how I would do that. Well, there you go. All right. Let's go on to the dad joke correspondent on location. Take it away, Wes.
Hey there, guys. So I took a job as the head of Old McDonald's farm. I'm CIEIO. Have another great day.
Thank you for that, Wes. And we are going to close it up here at the end of the podcast. And since this is kind of an end of the podcast in general, kind of, I don't know what we're going to do next. Let's say this is a pause in the show. And we may not be back for several weeks, or I'm not sure. We'll figure it out, depending on how many people respond and what we come up with. But all that to say is I have a quote that kind of is it's very inspirational. So here you go. Here's a quote from a book. It was written by C.S. Lewis, and this is one of my wife's favorite books. It's called The Last Battle. And this is just kind of, I was just thinking about the end of the podcast to a degree. And hopefully, like this quote is going to say, something new can start. Something even better than we have done in the past. So here's the quote. This is from The Last Battle, the last book in the Chronicles of Narnia book series. And it says, all their life in this world and all their adventures had only been the cover and title page. Now, at last, they were beginning chapter 1 of the great story, which no one on earth has read, which goes on forever, in which every chapter is better than the one before. That one's talking about heaven particularly, and which is a beautiful way to thank you, C.S. Lewis, for that. Yes. And hopefully this can kind of be the beginning, like we've done a podcast for 200 something, almost 300 episodes, I think, including all the practice episodes we did. So maybe this is the title page, and the next thing could be chapter 1. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. All that to say is that we thank you for listening. We thank you for being a part of this. And if you want to continue, please let us know and email us at anothergreatdaypodcast@gmail.com. So that's our only form of information, unless you have our direct number. Like if you're a friend or family and you know us, then please call us and talk to us and text us and tell us what you think about keeping going or not keeping going, or what we could change and improve to make chapter 1 of our greatest story even better. Or, the figurative podcast, chapter 1, not the other one. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's all we got. We thank you, and we hope that you make it another great day.